Alright everybody, it's pretty early in the morning. We're going to do a project here. The metal holder that I made for my first brake drum forge. I showed it to you, but I must not have given you a very good view of it. So I have another old forge here. I'm going to build this one and get rid of it. So I will show you how I made it on this one here, okay? And pretty much guaranteed you'll get it. It won't be that hard. Okay, we're going to go through all the parts that it took to build the steel holder for the brake drum forge. Now, these are just bolts, okay, and we're going to be bending this, and this is going to be our handle to tighten it up on the top. I used a 5/16 bolt. I cut the head off of it, and just ground down the end of it so you don't cut yourself. Just grind the end of it down, wire brush it, whatever. And they're 3 inches long. The next piece is going to be a piece of 1/2 inch. This is actually galvanized. I ground a bunch of the galvanized off so I could weld it. I don't like to weld galvanized, but that's what I got. That's what I'm using. It's 6 inches long, and it's 1/2 inch hole. Old water line. Then we got a piece of rebar. It's 1/2 inch long. It's 21 inches long. That piece will go inside of this piece, and this piece will go inside of here to make it to where we could tighten this rod up. And over here we got our top piece. It's 14 inches long. It's 1/2 inch rebar. Then we got another piece of 1/2 inch pipe. It's 1.25 inches long. This piece will be welded onto this piece here, and that's what make this rod go up and down. And then of course we have another 5/16 bolt, 3 inches long. We'll bend it probably about where my thumb is there. That'll give us a nice little handle that we'll weld this in here, and that'll give us a nice little handle. We'll tighten this rod so it can go up and down. Then we got a 10-inch piece of rebar here. It's 1/2 inch. It's not cleaned up yet. We will heat the ends of it up, and we'll bend a little lip on it. The last one I built, I actually made out of flat stock, and I welded a couple pieces of flat stock up the sides, but don't have any right now. This is what we got. This is what we'll use. So it's all laid out there. Actually, pretty easy. And it'll go right on the side of my brake drum forge. And I determined the length of this 1/2 inch rod, this 1/2 inch pipe, just so I could weld it onto the side of here. I'll level that and get it welded on there, and that'll be what holds the whole steel holder on there. Okay? So let's get this job done. Okay, my first step is going to be putting this 1/2 inch bar on here. Somewhere. We got to make sure we get it level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small level here, come down about how far I want that to sit, and I'll get this thing level on here, providing my bench is level, which I do believe it is. I'll mark this and mark this, and then we'll get that thing welded up on there. Okay, I put us a couple clamps on here to hold this piece of pipe on here. That's the 1/2 inch by 6 inch piece of pipe. We're going to get it welded on there, and then keep going. Okay, our next step is we have the 21 inch rod that goes into the brake drum forge, and then we have this little 1.25 inch piece of 1/2 inch pipe. We want to weld it on there. We want to try to get it as straight as we can. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just clamp mine in the vise here, and with this vise being flat, it seems to be pretty square there. I checked it with a square. It looks pretty good, and like I said, it's a forge. We don't really care as long as it holds our steel. So we're going to get this welded on. Now that we have this welded on here, this little 1/2 inch piece of pipe, we got to put our handles in there. We want to weld this little nut right down in that hole right. We want to weld the nut on there. We don't want to weld this our handle. We just want to weld the nut on there. So that's what we'll do now. We'll get this nut welded on here. Okay, we'll have to do the same with this one here. We're going to weld this nut on there. We'll screw the rod in, we'll screw it in, put it in the hole, and then we're going to get it welded around there too. Okay, I welded this up, and this didn't want to screw in very easily. I might have got a little bit of splatter down in there, so what I did is I just took, I don't know if you guys got tap and die set, but if you don't, you really should have a set, because these are nice tools to have. I run new threads down in there, and it cleaned it out real nice, so you may have that problem. You know, you might want to get you a tap and die set and clean them threads back out. It's not much to it, but still it's something you might run across when you're doing this project. Alright, our next step is we're gonna heat this up. Got about an inch on this side, inch on this side. All we need is to keep the metal from sliding off of there. So we're gonna flatten it out a little bit, bend it up, do both sides. So and then we're gonna take our two handles, we're gonna bend them in a 90-degree angle. It's not a big deal, but we're gonna get her done. Okay, alright, we got our ends bent up about an inch, whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect. All it's going to do is keep metal from sliding off. And we got us two little handles. These will be to tighten down the rods. I got two of them. So now all we're going to do is we're going to weld these together. Now, you notice when I weld this together, it's going to be an offset. I got a couple inches here, but I got more over here. And if you wonder why, is because when you bolted up, when you welded it to the brake drum forge, it's actually on this side. So I just wanted it to be straight, just so it looks good, straight with the damper on this brake drum forge. So that's why it's off to the side. If you was wondering, that's why it's off to the side. Okay, this tool holder is finished. It looks good. I mean, it turned out real nice. It's basically made out of just rebar and a couple pieces of 1/2-inch pipe. Now, you could run across a couple roof bolts or something. I don't know if there's any roof bolts around where you're at. They seem to work on here too. The roof bolts work okay, but this is rebar. This is something you can pick up at like Lowe's or somewhere, you know, hardware around. You can get some rebar, and it's actually pretty cheap. And then a couple pieces of 1/2-inch pipe. I know these were galvanized. I know you're not supposed to weld galvanized, but I ground all the galvanized off of it and welded it anyhow. That's what I had. That's what I used. This tool holder is actually pretty nice. It's adjustable. So if you need to go down lower or you want to go up higher, you can go pretty high. And if you want to come out, just loosen this one up and take your bar out. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. Now it's on the rebar, so you got some notches here. Maybe I'll give you just little adjustments on it, but it does work good, and it keeps you from having to sit there and hold this with your hand. I wasn't crazy about sitting there all day with my hand in there when I could be doing something else. This could be heating up. This brake drum forge, I will get rid of this forge. I don't want it. It's just a project I had sitting around, and I'm glad that somebody asked about the tool holder, or the metal holder. I needed to make one anyhow. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe or leave me a message, a comment there, or thumbs up or thumbs down. Whatever you all choose to do, that's fine with me. This is Kevin, and until next time, thanks for watching, brother.